Dodgers analyst Jerry Hairston Jr. joins us to talk all things Dodger baseball. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You guys ready to parade? We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship. Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club. Mookie Magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. Everything you need to know about your boys in blue in less than an hour. My name is Doug McKain, credential member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Now, if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor. Subscribe to the #1 Dodgers podcast and live show on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. But without further ado, one of our favorite guests is joining us once again today, the World Series champion, the Emmy Award winner, Dodgers analyst Jerry Hairston Jr. rocking with us here on Dodgers Dugout Live. Jerry, coming back from the course, thank you so much for joining us here, my man.
Doug, thanks for having me, man. Yeah, every day, any chance you get a chance, hit the links on a beautiful day. You take advantage of it. Didn't play all too well, but hey, that's the nature of the beast sometimes. But good to be with you.
Yeah, and I know your polo game is really nice too. You got the purple, you got the hat, you looking really clean. And you look at this Dodgers team, they pretty much are on their way to hitting holes in one in this offseason. I mean, you go out there and you sign a Blake Snell. I know that you were big on the idea of signing Blake Snell because you look at this rotation heading into last season, you're like, okay, on paper, a lot of depth. You bring in Tyler Glasnow, Yamamoto. By the end of the season, you had 3 starters in the postseason. You used 40 pitchers last year. So for the Dodgers to go out there and not just get a good pitcher, but a great elite pitcher who, in my opinion, was the best pitcher as far as overall stuff available this free agency, you got to love that deal for the Dodgers.
Love that deal for the Dodgers. He's a left-handed pitcher. Obviously, he's a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Knows how to pitch in big games. Knows the division as well. He just turned 32 years of age, so he's got a long way to go in his career. So I love the fact that he's hungry as well. You're looking at his interviews that he's had since joining the Dodgers. You know, he wants to continue to learn, continue to get better, and wants to be able to hoist that trophy. I've always thought, you know, being on a team that has won the World Series and seeing different guys that have won multiple championships, a lot of them say that it's always good to have 1 or 2 guys that have never won before, because it helps keep that clubhouse, helps keep that team energized, because a lot of these guys want to win for that person that has never won it before. So I thought it was imperative that the Dodgers go out and get another ace-type pitcher because, Doug, you mentioned it. Last year, you know, our rotation heading down the stretch, you know, we were kind of trying to piece things together, trying to get Walker Buehler, hopefully give us 4, maybe 5 innings, and we kind of taxed our bullpen in that postseason. So, you know, ideally, you know, you want to get as many starting pitchers into the mix heading into the season as possible because, you know, especially nowadays, you can never have enough pitching.
Absolutely. And you heard Blake Snell tell us the other day that the idea of pitching in the postseason in front of a packed stadium, that means something to players like that. You mentioned he is a multi-time Cy Young Award winner. He got paid. He got his bag. What else is there to do but then to go out there and win a World Series trophy? I love what you said, too, about teams that have already won titles to kind of bring in guys that are great, that are elite, that can kind of keep things fresh. And I think that Blake Snell, the character that he has as far as he's got that postseason dog mentality. You, of course, play with CC Sabathia in that team. I almost feel like, look, it's pure stuff-wise, when he's on his best day, he just doesn't take a backseat to anyone, and it's kind of a mindset that I think is going to really benefit this team as well.
If you look at his numbers, I think right now if his career ended today, he'd have the best strikeout ratio per 9 innings in the history of the game. Better than Randy Johnson, better than Roger Clemens. Are you kidding me? That's how dominant his stuff has been. And you look at his fastball, he run that fastball 95 to 97 miles an hour. But his curveball, I mean, I think big league hitters last year hit 111 off his curveball. That's how dominant that breaking ball has been. So he get righties and lefties out. So anytime you get a guy that is a strike thrower, he can throw per 9 innings. I mentioned earlier, 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. He can get a lot of swing and miss. That's elite. And you want to make sure you have enough guys that are elite, because we thought that teams were gunning for us last year.
Yeah.
Bet said it at FanFest last year on our set. He said every team's series in the regular season is going to be their World Series. And that's how they approach playing against the Dodgers. Now, we just won the World Series. Now we're the defending World Series champions. So you're going to magnify that even twofold. Teams going after the Dodgers. So you got to make sure you know that repeating is going to be tough to repeat. So you got to make sure you have the best team possible.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, that you already had a bullseye. The bullseye is going to get even bigger because you're adding more stars. You're trying to do something that hasn't been done since the 2000 Yankees, since the 70s Reds, repeating as a champion. I love that you brought up that he is the all-time leader in strikeouts per 9, because I remember early in free agency doing my research, and you go to Baseball Reference, and when it's gold by the number, what's outlined in gold, that means you're the all-time leader in that. And I said, wait a minute, Blake Snell, 11.2 strikeouts per 9? Better than all those pitchers named Randy Johnson, Koufax. I mean, he is that guy, the all-time. We know our guy, Michael Jordan, all-time leader in points per game. So we like the all-time leaders and things, and Blake Snell certainly is that. But you mentioned going back-to-back. It just does not happen very often in Major League Baseball. And of course, baseball is a sport where you got a lot of roster turnover, bullpen pieces volatile from year to year. You got injuries, pitchers, and free agency, a lot of complicated factors. But what is it about this team that you think gives them probably one of the best chances that we've seen in recent history to go back-to-back?
Well, I think, first of all, it starts with ownership of the front office, making sure that they put in place a standard. Hey, we expect to get there to the postseason. We expect to put our best foot forward and go out there and win championships, not just get to the World Series. Their goal is to win. And they put really it out there last season. When you go out and sign a Shohei Ohtani and then go out and sign a Yamamoto, you put the world on notice. Hey, it's World Series or bust. Is there some pressure that comes with that? Absolutely. But I'd rather have that type of pressure than not having an owner or ownership group or a front office to say, you know what, we don't care. We don't care what happens. We're just going to put a couple guys out there. You guys kind of fend for yourselves and not be given the opportunity to win. So you want those expectations. You want to have ownership put that on you as a player, because as a player, that, I guess it's kind of a new phrase. The kids call it leveling up.
Yeah.
You better level up. You want that. So you're excited about going into spring training. You're excited about that opportunity. And you mentioned those late 90s, early 2000 Yankees. When I first got to the big leagues, I was with the Baltimore Orioles. I would call up in 98. But my run in the big leagues from really 99 to 04 with the Orioles, I played against Jeter. I played against Mariano Rivera. And those great Yankee teams. The one thing that you knew going into the 4-game series against the Yankees, you're going to get great starting pitching and great bullpen, led by Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer of all time. So I think that's what the Dodgers are trying to really create, is making sure every time you take the field, you have a starter that gives you a chance to win. I remember leading off in New York, you had Roger Clemens one day, Andy Pettit the next day, David Cohn the next day, El Duque the next day, then David Wells. They had, tremendous starting pitching every single day. And that's what you want as a player, to make sure when you run out of that field, you got a chance to win. So I think that's what the Dodgers are trying to do, making sure every time, you take the field, every time a fan pays for a ticket, that team has a chance to win.
Yeah, and that's what you love about this team, is you're not satisfied. And most teams, B offseason, A offseason is really kind of the Dodgers B offseason when we think about it. And for a team to go out there and have the success that they have and profit as much as they do, lead the league in attendance, get the profit from a World Series run, having Shohei Ohtani, to take that money, reinvest it, And I love what Andrew Freeman told us a couple days ago is we're rewarding our fans for the commitment they have to us. And I think that he's made it very clear he wants this to be viewed as the golden age of Dodger baseball. And you do that by winning multiple championships, always contending every single season. But one thing we always love about you, Jerry, in the comments, they'll always say about you is, look, Jerry always keeps it 100, right? And I always call you the people's analyst, you know, because you're not afraid to kind of go out on a limb, kind of address certain topics. And kind of one of the big things about around baseball is, oh, the Dodgers, the Los Angeles deferrals, and they're manipulating a system. And the truth of the matter is, Bobby Bonilla, Suter, Ken Griffey Jr., Max Scherzer. I mean, deferrals aren't new. Yes, the one that they'd signed with Shohei was pretty extreme, but what is your kind of take about kind of this narrative that, oh, the Dodgers are ruining baseball with these deferrals and signing all these big name players?
Well, first of all, I mean, other teams could do the same thing. Other teams have done the same thing. I played with guys that deferred money. It benefits the team. It benefits the player. That way it allows the player to make sure, you know what, in the next, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, I know Bobby Bo, I'm going to have that money. So that's security for the player, and it benefits the team in the immediate future. So I think it's great for baseball. Every team can do it. And that's another thing, too. Everybody acts like the Dodgers are the only team that has money. Are you kidding me? If you really do a deep dive, Forbes does a pretty good job of making sure breaking down not just Major League Baseball, but all of pro sports. Only the National Football League is better off as far as making money than the Major League Baseball. It's the NFL, Major League Baseball. I think it's the English Premier League. There in Europe, the football clubs out there do a tremendous job. Chelsea's one of them. They make a ton of money. Okay. Then I think 4th or 5th place is the NBA. So Major League Baseball does a great job of making money. The Dodgers aren't the only team making money. The Dodgers, what they do, as we mentioned earlier, they reward their fan base. They don't just pocket the money. They make sure they spend money to make sure they have a team on the field that can win championships. There's a lot of clubs out there that are worth a lot of money that can do the same thing. And not only that, they can continue to defer money. So again, if you are a fan that maybe not a fan of the Dodgers, don't be mad at the Dodgers. Be mad at your club. There's a lot of healthy clubs out there that could be doing the exact same thing.
Exactly. And preach. And we love to hear that because you're absolutely right. I mean, people don't realize this, but yeah, outside the NFL and the Indian Premier League, a cricket league, Major League Baseball is the most valuable league, almost $12 billion. So anything that you have directed towards the Dodgers, you can also forward that email to your favorite team's owner. It could be applied, right? So I love to hear that as well. And I think that what kind of gets lost in all this, and I don't want to see if you agree with me, is that, I mean, you're a player that's played for multiple organizations. You see how it's done with different franchises, historic franchises, one still on the come up, different levels. What's lost in all of this, and I don't think the Dodgers are getting enough credit for this, is building the destination organization. You can have them defer all the money you want. At the end of the day, they're deferring that money because this is where they want to play.
Without a doubt. And you made a great point there. They're making it the destination. It's not just at the big league level, Doug. You look at the entire totality of the organization, and it starts with the very top. They're extremely well run, extremely well organized, and it goes all the way down to the lower levels. So when they draft kids, when they sign kids internationally, they make sure from day one they are well structured. This is how we do things. So whether you're in rookie ball, A ball, AA, AAA, once you get to the big leagues, you're able to hit the ground running. Now, if you stay with us with the Dodgers, you get to the big leagues, stay with us, that's awesome. That is the ideal plan. But you're able to build great players in your organization to maybe help your ball club in the big level, or you use them via trades to be able to hit ready-made stars. Either way, you're building a foundation, okay? And that's what I kind of, I wouldn't say drive me crazy talking to different fan bases, is you look at the Dodgers in totality, not just at the big league with the big league ball club. You make sure you're able to draft and sign and develop guys like Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger. They're not with us anymore, but we drafted and developed them. Okay, Will Smith is the guy that we drafted, Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw back in the day, right? You're able to have guys come up through this system and do it the right way, the Dodger way. And other clubs can do the same thing. Let's say if you're a club that may not have as much money, okay, or revenue as the Dodgers, but you have enough money to develop a farm system. You have enough money to develop players in your system. So again, there's so many different ways and so many different types of blueprints to make sure you have a winning ball club on the field. And another thing too, you look at baseball, you mentioned earlier, the repeat champions. It hasn't been a repeat champion since the Yankees when I was a young player playing. So there is so much parity in the game of baseball. And everybody, especially now with the wild card, everybody has a chance to win.
Yeah, it's so impressive. I mean, as you mentioned, it goes way beyond just throwing money and throwing deferrals at players. There's other resources and ways you can develop in the homegrown talent, the farm system, the manager that they selected. I think that you've been a strong advocate for. You can take a big victory lap on, and Dave Roberts is a big reason why. But yeah, the Dodgers are like the Michael Jordan of running a baseball team right now, and you just love it. It does feel like a little bit of a cheat code, right? You sign a player. They have deferred money. You invest that money, and with Shohei, you profit off that money. So I don't know. It's pretty incredible to see what they're doing.
You mentioned Shohei, right? One of the reasons why Shohei Ohtani, and it's been well documented now, he chose the Dodgers is because how well run the Dodgers were, right? He didn't want to enter into, for the next 10 years of his life, his whole rest of his career, he didn't want to enter into dysfunction, right? Listen, I'm a Bears fan. I know what dysfunction looks like, okay?
Call timeout. Call timeout.
You want to make sure, and hopefully we're past that. Now Thomas Brown does his own thing, but I'm going to forget about that. So I know what dysfunction looks like. So when players are sitting, superstar players are sitting, they're going to go to an organization that's well run. So don't knock the Dodgers because they already had a great organization the last 7, 8, 10, 12 years up and running, led by Ned Colletti. You know, back then, Ned Colletti did a tremendous job drafting, developing players, and then handing it on to Andrew Freeman and his group, who've done a tremendous job of keeping this organization well run. Because we were able to do that, it attracts players like Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto. So learn from the Dodgers if you're other teams. Hey, we got to make sure our house is in order first, build the foundation, and then we can attract free agents.
Yeah, I love hearing that because it doesn't happen overnight. They laid the groundwork for that for so many years, dating all the way back to when you had the ownership changeover to Guggenheim. If this was a 2-year thing, I don't think that would have been enough for Shohei to see, right? He needed to see it for a long stretch. And then I think when the Dodgers came at him with, hey, we did win a World Series. We haven't made the postseason in a long time, but we weren't satisfied with it. I think both their mindsets met, and hey, it led to a World Series in year one. So when I go down the list of some of these current free agents that the Dodgers are interested in, first guy to talk about, it's not going to be Juan Soto, probably going to be Juan Soto, is Teoscar Hernandez, because we're on Teoscar watch. He was so pivotal to this team. I mean, he has the big game-tying double in Game 5, also made the big defensive play in Game 3 to throw out Giancarlo Stanton, and he was clutch this season. He was everything the Dodgers could have asked for and then some, and you add the intangible benefits, the sunflower seeds. Teoscar Hernandez has been a must re-sign for us, but where you at with Teoscar Hernandez? Do you think he's a must re-sign, and do you think ultimately they'll get a deal done for him?
I think ultimately they'll get a deal done. You know, listen, there's no secret. Teoscar Hernandez, you know, obviously he had an epic season. Obviously, you mentioned the clutch base hits. He had the perfect season in my mind as far as he takes a chance on himself, signs a 1-year deal. He puts the onus, hey, I'm going to be on a 1-year deal with the Dodgers. I'm going to go to a big market. I'm going to prove myself throughout the season that I can be that big-time performer. He was clutch so many times, hits in the middle of the lineup, plays every single day, wins the home run derby on a big stage, which was awesome, okay, and then goes out and helps this team win a World Series. So he did the ultimate, betting on himself, going out there and proving that he could play on a big market. So listen, there's no secret. The Yankees want him. The Red Sox want him. The Blue Jays are going to try to re-sign him because he was a Blue Jay before. So the services, every team should want Teoscar Hernandez. That said, I think he's vital to our team. He's a right-handed hitter. He can hit in the middle of the lineup. And you already know that he's used to the LA market. You already know what you're going to get. You know, sometimes you don't know how a guy will react to a big market like a New York, like a LA, like a Chicago. You already know that with Teoscar Hernandez. And guys love him. The fans love him. And listen, I've been around this game an awful long time. He's probably the nicest person I've ever been around, talked to. His laugh and smile is infectious, and guys love him. So I'm hoping he gets a deal done. I hope it's with the Dodgers, but if it's with somebody else, I don't blame other teams because I want a Teoscar Hernandez on my team as well. So hopefully he's a Dodger.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of one of those things where you have such a year like that. And as you point out, it was a 1-year bet on yourself contract. He didn't like the way he was seeing the ball in Seattle. The numbers were down. Signs with the Dodgers, over 23 million, $8+ million deferred. It panned out marvelously. I don't think it could have gone any better. Makes the all-star team, was a home run derby, like you point out. But on top of everything else, he balled out in the postseason. And as you mentioned, not a lot of players can handle the big markets. I mean, Kobe used to say that the Lakers aren't for everyone. I think the Dodgers are the same thing. And can you really afford out there if you're the Dodgers? Obviously, you can get a player like Juan Soto. He's going to be good wherever he's at. He's going to be great wherever he's at. But can you bring in another guy and expect him to produce like a Teoscar Hernandez when the championship window is wide open for multiple champions?
Well, here's the thing. I never want to put limits on our organization, on the front office, on ownership group. I don't want to put limits, especially how creative they've been with contracts. So listen, Soto is a left-handed batter. Teoscar Hernandez is a right-handed batter. And everybody's saying Mookie Betts is moving back to second base. So if that means Mookie Betts is at second base, I probably see 2 spots in the outfield. So I don't want to limit the Dodgers. Is there room for both? Maybe. It's up to them how they see certain things. So once again, I don't want to limit the Dodgers organization.
100%. The fact that we'll shift the conversation to Juan Soto, because the fact that you're in on Soto at this stage of the game, we're right before the winter meetings. It's clear that this was not some type of Bryce Harper offer, right? High AAV, shorter deal. This is a serious $600+ million offer, which has been reported. And the Dodgers, they're making good on their promise to Shohei Ohtani, being good on their promise to their fans, and they just want to win and be the best organization. So I 100% agree with you. We've been saying on this show for weeks now that signing Juan Soto shouldn't preclude them from signing a Teoscar Hernandez. You mentioned the fact that both those corner outfield spots are open, and you did sign Tommy Edman to an extension, who does play above average defensive center field, so he can kind of make up for any defensive deficiencies they may have in the corner spots. Let's be honest, both those guys more than make up for what they do at the plate.
Without question. And once again, you have 2 different hitters. Soto's a left-handed batter. Obviously, Teoscar Hernandez is a right-handed batter. And you mentioned, listen, Juan Soto is a tremendous talent. No question about it. Just turned 26 years old. What's crazy is he hasn't entered his prime yet. He's had a tremendous career up until this point. Already won a World Series with the Nationals. So he's already been on a big stage and won. Obviously, he's played for the Yankees, knows what it's like to play in a big market. So, listen, I expect the Yankees to be extremely aggressive on him. I expect the Mets to be there. But you never know what Soto wants. You got to remember, he's 26 years of age now. He's got to think, okay, I'm thinking long term. Where would I want to be for the next 10, 12, 15 years? Again, I don't want to put limits on his contract, him being a free agent right now. So, he may think, what is going to be best for me and my family? Is it to stay in New York and be a Yankee, which is a tremendous option? Playing for the Yankees is awesome. Or do I want to go with the Mets and start my own thing? Or is it LA to be in perfect weather, incredible environment? We just mentioned the front office, their history, they're being so well run, well organized. So Soto is going to have plenty of offers and plenty opportunities.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I keep reminding myself that there was a report that he was seriously considering an extension with the Padres. So that shows he is open to being on the West Coast. What environment does he want to be in? Does it almost remind you of, if he goes to the Yankees, one thing I was kind of thinking of, they had Jeter, then you get A-Rod. Everyone kind of knew that A-Rod was the best player in the sport as far as overall. And Jeter, obviously a Yankee legend, obviously elite as well. Do you think there's a little of, do I want to rejoin the Yankees because we know Aaron Judge is going to be the guy for the Yankees? Or do you think that, hey, he might want to start his own thing, be the face of the Mets, even though they have Lindor, or the Red Sox need talent too? So it's really a fascinating conversation. You got the Blue Jays that are reportedly throwing a lot of money too. Do you have a sense of where he kind of ends up, just kind of as a guess, if you would?
You know what? I always was told, just in baseball circles, that the Mets were going to be extremely aggressive on him. And rumor has it they have been. So my gut was right around the end of the season that he was going to be a New York Met. That was just my gut then. As this process has gone on longer and longer and longer, I think the Yankees are in serious play. I played there. It's a great organization. Yankee fans are incredible. And it's a great place to play. And you talk about, does he want to do his own thing? It's not like in basketball where you're that guy. It's only 5 guys on the floor. Baseball is a lineup. You know what I'm saying? So you can still be your own guy. You mentioned A-Rod and G. 2 different type of guys, 2 superstar players. A-Rod, you mentioned for a period of time, A-Rod was the best player in the world. Okay. G is a guy that, man, chips are down. I want Jeter at the plate. You know he's going to come up clutch, find a way to win. So they were very comparable as far as being able to play together. And they were great teammates as well. So I think Soto and Aaron Judge, from what I heard from a variety of people there, they got along great. And they loved each other and they loved being teammates. So I don't think that's going to be the issue at all. So listen, I think the Yankees are in play. The Mets are in play. And the Blue Jays, people forget, Blue Jays have a ton of money as well. So you can't count them out as well.
Yeah, I like the Yankees too. Can you afford to lose him? Because if you lose him, where does your lineup go? You got Stanton, you got Judge, you got Volpe, but not a lot up and down that lineup. And I think you go to the World Series in year 1 with him. By all reports, he was great in the clubhouse. That's one thing I really want to specifically ask you about, because I think there's this myth about Juan Soto because the Soto shuffle, which I like, by the way, because I think that gives him a mental advantage against the pitcher and just fun to watch too as a fan. I mean, it's a myth that he's some bad clubhouse guy, right?
Well, I mean, listen, there's going to be – I know you're going to find this hard to believe, Doug. I've rubbed people the wrong way at times, okay? I don't care who you are.
There's no way. I don't believe it. Nope.
My mom –
No, that personality. Nope.
Gary, don't ever say that. Listen, I don't care who you are, man. You're going to rub some people the wrong way. It doesn't matter, right? There's people that hate Michael Jordan, okay? I mean, how is that possible? But they are. It doesn't matter. You're going to rub people the wrong way. Listen, Soto is a tremendous player. All the accounts I've heard, Yankees loved him. They loved playing with him. They thought he was a great teammate. He got along with everybody. So you're going to rub people the wrong way sometimes. There's no perfect human, right? So, again, I think that's way overblown. He's a guy that loves to compete. Does he have his antics? That's his thing. Okay, kids love it. Obviously, it's entertainment. I'm sure pitchers don't like it, But, hey, everybody has their own different type of thing. And obviously, he's a tremendous player, tremendous talent. I've heard nothing as far as him being a bad team.
Yeah, you give me almost 8 WAR. You hit 40+ home runs. I can live with you being a headphones on at your dugout, in the dugout, into your locker type of guy. And look, the good thing is you're not ruffling any feathers or anything like that. But I got to throw at this one at you too, since you're a big basketball guy. Would Soto joining the Dodgers be equivalent to KD joining the Warriors? Great player.
Great question.
Great player.
A lot of people get on KD. KD, I live here in Scottsdale. KD's down the street here in Phoenix.
Go get him.
Great guy, great individual. People forget that the Warriors lost, right? When KD went over there. And what all KD was doing is what LeBron did, leaving Cleveland to go team up with a champion and a finals MVP in Dwayne Wade, and then getting another stud in Chris Bosh. So KD basically took what LeBron did and just probably did it better. Baseball's different, man. It's not basketball where you have 5 guys on the court and you really have 2 or 3 guys that can really impact the game. And it's fluid, right? You're on offense and defense simultaneously. You could be Shohei Ohtani and get walked 3 or 4 times, and he doesn't get a chance to swing the bat, right? And you need the lineup, okay? On the flip side, pitching, right? You have a stud pitcher. He pitches, once every 5-6 days? So basically once a week. So baseball is a whole different animal. You need an entire lineup, and you need a pitching rotation, and then you need a bullpen. Basketball is different. So it's tough to compare basketball when you have guys joining super teams because they impact the game all the time as the game is flowing, offense, defense, back and forth. Baseball is different, man. You may not get in at bat for 3 innings, okay? So you could be an elite shortstop and not have a ball hit your way the entire game. So baseball is a totally different game. So, no, it wouldn't be the same. To answer your question, It would not be the same. Him going and doing what LeBron did or what KD did, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, he's as big of a star probably as KD was in his sport as far as how talented he is. But I agree with you in the sense that baseball is just totally different than any sport where you have the ball in your hands whenever you want it, like football as a quarterback, like basketball. And I think with Juan Soto, look, you point out the Dodgers have a need. You need an outfielder in 3 years when Freddie Freeman could be gone. You might need a left-handed bat, although I hope Freddie re-ups and he goes to Dodgers, Hall of Fame as a Dodger and that kind of stuff. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You needed a need. Now, speaking of another Hernandez, last offseason, I don't think there was anyone out there that was a bigger advocate for Kike Hernandez being back with this team than you. Do you think it's equal this season?
I think so. Kike Hernandez just fits us. Listen, it's no secret. I love Kike Hernandez. We have become pretty good friends as far as knowing each other a little bit. Obviously, I keep my difference being a broadcaster, him being a current player. But I just love the way he plays. He's a big-time performer. He's a guy that when all the chips are down in the postseason, he ain't afraid, bro. He's just not afraid, man. He wants that at bat. He wants to be that guy. He wants to be that guy on the defensive end. And it's hard to find that in sports, not just in baseball. It's hard to find a guy like that that wants to be that quarterback. When you're down 4 points, your team needs a touchdown to march them down the field. It's hard to find the guy that, hey, I'm going to take that shot. NBA Finals is on the line. I'm going to be the one to take that shot. In the baseball, you want the guy to want that at bat in critical situations. Kike Hernandez is that guy. I'm so glad he waited. He had a lot of offers last offseason, but he waited patiently for the Dodgers to make some moves so he could re-sign with the Dodgers. I'm hoping the Dodgers bring him back because it's a perfect fit for both Kike and the Dodgers.
Yeah, and Jay here, you're someone who got a postseason hit in your first postseason at bat, and you have experienced what it's like to come through in that stage, in that environment. Just for someone that's never going to play Major League Baseball, for people out there, I mean, what is the biggest difference that you've seen in a player that maybe can go 2 for 4 in June and a player that in October, when you need a hit, when you need to execute a big pitch, they can come through in that spot? Is it just embracing the moment? Is it mindset? Is it nerves? I mean, just what's the biggest difference between having success in the regular season and being a player that can come through under the bright lights of October?
Well, I think it's no secret. When you're growing up as a kid, you thought about being that guy at the plate. And you realize when you're having that bat in June, it still means something. Obviously, it's the big leagues. You're trying to win ball games. You're trying to be that guy. But when you're in the postseason, everybody's watching you, okay? There's only 3 or 4 or 5, 6 teams that are playing in the postseason at certain times, right? And then in the World Season, you're the only game in the world. So, yes, there's nerves. I don't care who you are. You're going to have nerves. But how are you able to handle those nerves? Do you accept them and say, you know what, hey, I'm nervous, he's nervous, I'm going to go out there and do my thing? Or do you crumble under pressure? So some guys don't want that at bat. We know Kike Hernandez wants that at bat. So for me, I was a veteran when I started to have my postseason kind of career. So I had a lot of at-bats, a lot of opportunities, and really was like, listen, I'm going to enjoy this because I don't know when I'm going to have this opportunity again. So yes, was there some nerves? But listen, I don't care how nervous I was. I worked hard for this. So I'm going to go out there and do my thing and put my best foot forward and let the chips fall where they may. And Kike had a phrase, I'm not going to repeat it, where, you got to have that kind of mentality. Hey, man, I'm going to go out there and do my thing regardless of what people think.
WDGAF. We have a shirt that we sell that has it on it. But yeah, I mean, that mindset, that approach. I mean, look, the year the Dodgers win a full 162 game plus postseason World Series was the year where they got the big hit in the big spots. And those guys came through: Teo, Kike, Mookie, the list goes on and on. Okay, last question here. It's nothing to do with baseball. What's up with the Lakers so far this season, Jerry? And what's your early assessment of JJ Redick as a head coach?
Well, you know what? I haven't watched a whole lot of basketball this year. I've been the biggest basketball fan. I love basketball. And I try to – every era is different. I try to support current athletes. I think basketball, they launched too many threes. I'm talking about just basketball in general. It's been tough to watch, okay? And I think they need to change the rules and allow the players to play. Again, it's not the players. It's the rules that are not allowing the players to actually play the game of basketball. It's just looks more like a really bad all-star game every night. Now,
it's like
to address the Lakers.
Yeah.
Okay. I've watched a couple of the Laker games. The games that I saw, defense, man. when you only have Anthony Davis out there that is trying to cover for guys, and he's that guy, he's out there at the wings sometimes. He's got to hustle back to be a shot blocker as well. You can tell now it has taken its toll on him, okay? And it's affected his offense the last couple games. When you have only really Anthony Davis playing defense and you lose track of your man back cutting and getting easy shots and then getting wide open threes. And I talk to NBA guys all the time. I live here in Scottsdale here at Lifetime. A lot of NBA players, Mike Bibby's around all the time. When you have wide open looks at three, it's like a 2-0 fastball to hitters. When you know a fastball's coming, you're going to square that up. Well, when you have wide open threes, the Miami Heat, I saw last game, the Miami Heat aren't known for their offense. But when you have an NBA player and they're going to get wide open looks, they're going to knock down those shots. So I think it has to start on the defensive end, not worry about your numbers on the offensive end, okay? Put your energy on the defensive end and let the offense take care of itself. I think it starts on defense, man.
Got to shape up that defense for the purple and gold. This guy can do it all, man. Football, golf, basketball. Is nothing Jerry Harrison Jr. can't do. And thank you so much for joining us here, talking Dodger baseball, talking off-season free agency. We hope you enjoy the rest of your off-season because it's going to be a shorter off-season this time around. Before we know it, it's going to be spring training. We're going to be talking about Tokyo. We're going to talk about opening day. But Jerry, we thank you so much. We're big fans of yours here at Dodgers Nation, and we hope you enjoy the holidays and the rest of your off-season, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother.
You got it. There he goes. Jerry Harrison Jr. He is the man. He is the man. And so many fantastic points, great insight, great expertise on not just Dodger baseball, but really all things sports, man. That guy can talk a ball on every single level. And we're going to talk about some of the things he had to say. But let's dive into your super chats. Tayo Serrano, $5 super chat. D-Mac asked Jerry, who would you rather want on the Dodgers, Teo or Soto? He answered that question for you. He said both. He said he doesn't like to limit the Dodgers. And hey, you can get them both. You can get them both, right? Carolina C, $5 super chat. Jerry got a sign of today's live with the pen throw at the camera. Love you, Jerry. Yeah, I love the pen throw at the camera, man. It's his signature move. We got Elaine. Soto's a great hitter, no doubt. In the long run, he will produce more. Teoscar wants to be a Dodger. Came up huge when the moment called for it. We also need Kike, Viva Los Hernandez. Yeah, 100% give you a let's go Dodgers on that one. You need both the Kikes back. You need the Kike pitcher. You need the Kike hitter because he's the dog. And you also need the other Hernandez back in Teoscar Hernandez. We'll talk about that too in a second here. We got Stu Wonder. You can sign Teo and Soto. Come on now. Hey, they are our money, right? Look, let's go. Look, Roy Estrada, actually, a couple more super chats. You guys have been waiting. Soto is going to wait until the media is at the winter meetings. Then Boris will call a news conference for Soto to announce his destination Sunday or Monday. Well, I'll tell you some stuff I've heard about that in a second here. Pika Pete would rather have 3 guaranteed World Series contending years with Teo, another absurdly long Boris contract to ride out. Then another. Look, I mean, the quick response to that, though, is if Teoscar Hernandez comes back, it's a 3-year deal, $75 million, something in that range. And then Soto signs for north of $700 million. If that's with the Dodgers, you have to assume there's lots of deferrals included in that. And if that's the case, well, you probably have an opt-out too after 3 seasons, possibly after 4 seasons, so we could re-enter the market. So there's a world that you could have the benefits of Teoscar being back, hitting well, helping this team win championships. Soto being one of the best players on the planet. By the way, we're dreaming here. We're dreaming big here. I'm not saying this is going to happen. Unlikely scenario. But there is a world where you could get off of Soto and Teo in 3 or 4 years' time, and he's not impacting the back end of the Ohtani contract, what's still left of Betts. And by that time, Freddie Freeman will be a free agent as well. We got Big Worm. I love Jerry. He knows that it's MJ greater than LeBron. Jerry is a dog. Love this guy. I got my jersey signed by Garcia Parr, and Jerry joked with me and tried to sign it too. Memorable moment I won't forget. He's a great dude, man. He's so passionate about the Dodgers and baseball, man. I love having him on the show. Always learned so much too about what it's like to be a big leaguer, man. A lot of people can have takes, opinions, and throw out stats. He's been in these clubhouses, in these dugouts. He's been a part of these World Series championship celebrations, and he's been a real baseball lifer too. Long history of baseball. Okay, so we're going to switch gears here. We're going to switch gears, talk some Blake Treinen. So Blake Treinen was on Foul Territory yesterday, and he said, "I will never speak poorly about the Dodgers. I obviously would welcome with open arms any type of deal to bring me back here." So that's a let's go Dodgers. When your best free agent reliever is advocating openly that he wants to re-sign with you. That's something that has now been the case for multiple players that you just don't see. And there's a true testament to what the Dodgers have built in Los Angeles, where guys that even might have a very slim chance of coming back are saying things like that. Jack Flaherty said he wanted to re-sign with the Dodgers. Walker Buehler said, "I'll be with the Dodgers as long as they'll have him." Kike Hernandez, Teoscar Hernandez, now Blake Treinen. Find me one player that was with the Dodgers that did not have a great experience or want to re-up with them in recent memory. And with Blake Treinen, it's another no-brainer. It's another no-brainer for a couple of reasons. One, he wants to re-sign. Two, he was massive in the postseason. Three, it's not going to cost you a ton of money in years compared to the other players on your roster. He is going to be 37 years old during next season, and you could get him back on a 2-year, $15, $16 million deal. That's not going to destroy your roster. If Blake Treinen were to sign that deal and never pitch a game for the Dodgers, it would not be a disaster. It'd be bad, but it would not be a disaster. And by the way, I want to give him credit too. When Blake Treinen was on Foul Territory, he was rocking the Dodgers championship hat. I mean, you got Dodgers players rocking Dodgers gear that are free agents, not going the Garrett Cole route, who put on that Scott Boras hat after the Astros lost in the postseason. Blake Treinen still wanting to be a Dodger, wearing that fire lid. So I want to give him credit for that. And let's be honest here. When we look back 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years at this championship, we're always going to remember Freddie Freeman's grand slam. We're always going to remember Walker Buehler striking out Alex Verdugo for the final out of the World Series. We're going to remember Teoscar getting the game-tying double. But all of that would not have been possible if it weren't for Blake Treinen. Blake Treinen was fantastic. The 6th, the 7th, the 8th, getting the final outs against the Padres. I mean, he was fantastic throughout the entire postseason. He was nails. I'll never forget what Dave Roberts told Mookie Betts during his podcast when he went out there to go take the ball from him in Game 5. Dave said that he wanted to look in his eyes and hear what he had to say to see if he still had it. And Treinen said, "I got Stanton." And he wanted him. He got the out. And Dave Roberts was waiting for Blake Treinen to give him any type of look. And Doc would have came out and taken the ball from him and gone to the bullpen. Blake didn't look at Dave. Freddie Freeman looked at Dave and kind of respectfully shoot him into the dugout, saying he's got this, and he gets the job done. He's got the heart, the focus. He's got the mindset to come through on the biggest of stages. Let's not forget what happened in 2020 too, when Kenley Jansen went full California adventure and didn't come through in Game 4. You went to Blake Treinen in Game 5 and then Julio in Game 6. Now, as far as how good he's going to be, look, he missed 2022, most of it, all of 2023. It's going to be 37 at some point next season. The velo's down. The stuff peripherally, if you look at some of the metrics, you could say it's down from his peak, but still, he was extremely effective. He had a 193 ERA, a 30.4 strikeout rate, posted a 1 WAR in 46 2/3 innings. That's really, really good. A sub-2 ERA, a strikeout rate above 30, 46 2/3 innings. Also, if you look at his expected numbers, his FIP, his expected FIP, he was better against lefties than righties last season. For the first time in his career, he was better against lefties than righties. That's massive. So, especially when you got Vesia, right? You definitely want your bullpen guys to be good against left and right. This is a no-brainer. You got to bring Blake Treinen back. You got to bring Blake Treinen back. And I don't care if the velocity was a little down. I don't care if he gave up more fly balls last season than he typically does. The ground ball rate was not as high as we've seen it. He's going with that cutter against lefties. He ended up throwing less cutters and more sinkers to lefties in 2024. So I think Blake Treinen's coming back. You got to bring him back, and we'll see what else they do as far as the bullpen goes. But I think considering what he's going to cost, what he means to this team, Dave Roberts already made it clear that he wants him back. I think Blake Treinen is going to be back in a big way, and I think that it's only a matter of time because he's someone that we know the Dodgers are communicating with. So, yeah, I think Blake Treinen's going to be a big time back. And we know Antonio loves Blake Treinen. We know why, right? He's a big Blake Treinen guy because of how nasty he is. He has his pitch mix, right?
Oh, yeah, that video game slider.
The video game slider, the sinker, the cutter. Blake Treinen's nasty. Do you think you could hit Blake Treinen on your best day? I mean, if he give you, okay, he throws you 100 sinkers. Could you make contact with one?
With 100 sinkers,
Yeah.
I know in my heart I can at least foul at least one off.
All right. Well, I'm going to hit a Blake Treinen. We're going to see.
Come on, Blake, let's go.
We're going to see. We got Mike Lopez, $2 super chat. Let's send Soto to the moon on one of those Elon Musk rocket ships. So Mike Lopez not in favor of Juan Soto to the Dodgers. Noel, look, man, you've been posting about Soto. You've been on the beat hardcore during free agency. Dodgers fans really don't want Juan Soto, do they?
They do not. I feel like not much has changed, and I feel like as the sweepstakes continue on and we start hearing more numbers, we had John Heyman today say that they have indeed offered him over $600 million, but they haven't gone all the way into that $700 million range that four other teams have. So it really just feels like the fans are not getting swayed by any of these reports. They want Teo back no matter what. And yeah, it just feels like Soto, it's going to be interesting because if the Dodgers do sign him, I'm really curious to see what the reception is going to be like by these fans.
Oh, if they absolutely sign him, fans will be like, I mean, they're going to get the gold trimmed Soto jersey. That'd be awkward ring day for him, by the way, if it were to happen. But look, I totally think that the Soto thing, there was some account on X that has gotten stuff right that is saying that the Dodgers were going to sign Juan Soto or something like that. That's a one Dodger dog, at least based on the sourcing there. But I think that the fact that the Dodgers are doing their due diligence, that's what they're supposed to be doing. And I don't think Teoscar Hernandez is going to be very offended by that because he knows how good of a player Juan Soto is. He knows what he's capable of. And like Jerry Harrison Jr. said too, it doesn't preclude them. And I can tell you from sources we've talked to that Teoscar Hernandez is not waiting for Juan Soto to sign to make his decision. And that makes sense because he wants to be a Dodger badly. And I think if you're the Dodgers, it would behoove you to sign Teoscar Hernandez as soon as you possibly can, because the minute that the Mets sign him, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, they're going to go after him harder. They're going to offer more money. So I think that makes sense for the Dodgers, but I think that the whole Juan Soto thing, it's fun. And I definitely think that the Dodgers made him a very, very competitive offer. But the difference between all of this is that it's the Mets. And the Mets have offered so much money. The Yankees have offered so much money. The Red Sox, the Blue Jays. Would the Dodgers really be willing to go over $700 million? Hey, with that $750 million rumor that Ken Rosenthal threw out, who knows? Is that the Dodgers? To me, it's if he's going to get 750, the first thing that popped into my mind is that could that be the Dodgers? Because that probably would include a lot of deferral money. So that would give him a higher overall contract and present day value than Ohtani. But that just wouldn't sit right. I mean, obviously the years would be longer, right? Because it'd be 15 years versus Ohtani's 10. But still, I just can't see it. I just can't see it. It's possible. It's definitely possible. Anything's possible with this Dodgers organization. Anything's possible with this Dodgers organization. But I don't think that he ultimately signs with the Dodgers. But hey, if I'm wrong, look, my mind will be blown. My mind will be blown if you add Juan Soto to this team. It truly, truly would. And the other rumors about that I think stick out to me is that, look, Jeff Passan is still reporting a connection to the Dodgers. And I said the Dodgers were a dark horse team for Juan Soto way at the beginning. And I still think they are a dark horse team. I don't think that they're out there trying to give them that much more than the Mets or the Yankees or the Red Sox. It would have to be a situation, or the Blue Jays. It had to be a situation where Juan Soto has made it clear he wants to be a part of this. He wants to be a part of this Dodgers organization, because if you're LA, if you already had 600, what's the difference between 600 and 630? 600 and 650. If you're at 650, what's the difference between 650 and 700? It's just about, do we want our guy, right? But there's a Jeff Passan reporting. There's the fact that I don't think the Dodgers really aren't a team that goes out there and leaks information to insiders to benefit them. That's just not what this team does. Usually with the Dodgers, they operate in silence. They only speak when it's ready to say checkmate. And anytime you hear a buzz from them, it's usually like, uh-oh, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. Whereas with Soto, if they're in it, they're in it. But we're going to find out when they're going to be completely eliminated from the conversation. So they're not the type of team. They're just not the type of team to, oh, we're going to do Scott Boras a favor by staying in this market just so we can go out there and try to force another team to drive up the price. I think that's kind of one thing that I've actually heard from sources, is kind of this kind of misconceptions that the Dodgers are just in this to kind of drive up the price. One thing I did hear about the Juan Soto pursuit for the Dodgers is that Juan Soto is not going to impact the other roster construction goals that the Dodgers do have. So there's that too. So that is kind of where they're at with Juan Soto. I think that you've had a competitive offer, and I think that Andrew Freeman, this Dodgers organization, have fulfilled their promise to Shohei Ohtani to go after the best players. They've fulfilled their promise to the fans, the organization, to put together the best team possible. Because look, there's no denying that Juan Soto makes the Dodgers a better team. There's no one that's denying that. No one can say objectively that that's false either, right? But I think Dodgers are where they're at and say, okay, you guys duke it out. You guys duke it out for Juan Soto. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, because I'm not saying there's no chance. I'm not the no chance thing, but it would be it would be an opportunistic major signing for the Dodgers and Juan Soto. Now, as far as Teoscar Hernandez goes, we are waiting to see what the latest is with him. We haven't had a deal announced with Teoscar Hernandez. And like I said, his deal isn't necessarily contingent with the Juan Soto thing. If that's how it plays out, that's fine. But kind of what we've heard is that the Dodgers, kind of the ball's in their court as far as signing Teoscar Hernandez at this point. So kind of my read on that is that the Dodgers are going through their process, and their process is their process, and they're not going to let anyone force them to deviate from that. So I do think that Teoscar ultimately ends up with the Dodgers. Will it happen before the winter meetings? That I'm not so sure about, but hopefully things change the next day, today, tomorrow. Things can happen very, very quickly. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, he ends up back with this team. I've heard a lot of people rag on his defense and say, oh, Teoscar Hernandez is a bad defender. Looked it up. He was a -8 and a career worst -11 on in left field, defensive run saved. But in right field, he had a 5 defensive run saved. So I think the key for him is to kind of put him in right field where he can have more success. And I think that is certainly the move right there. But a couple updates too. I want to give you a little update on Freddie Freeman before what time are we at? 55. So a couple more, because it's a jam-packed show. Thanks for Jerry Harrison joining us here on the #1 Dodgers podcast and show on YouTube, Dodgers Dugout Live. Quick one on Freddie Freeman. So Freddie Freeman did have surgery. He posted this picture, worth it for the ring. You'll love that. You'll love that for Freddie Freeman. And hey, man, this is a guy that got us a World Series ring. He's a guy that won a World Series MVP. He also had a broken finger, a broken rib. I'm telling you, I'm coming out of jersey buying retirement. Coming out of jersey buying retirement to get the Freddie Freeman gold trimmed Dodgers gold jersey when it comes out. The gold trimmed Dodgers jersey. But the procedure was done by Dr. Kenneth Jung, and the procedure as a whole is not going to impact him next season. He was feeling better by the time the World Series began. That was evidenced by how he played during that World Series. I mean, he had no extra base hits when the series started, and then he had a home run in each of the first 4 games. I mean, an absolute all-time postseason hitter by Freddie Freeman. He hit 300. He had a 364 on base, a 1,000 slug. I mean, he slugged 1,000. It's pretty remarkable. His postseason numbers, they're absolutely gaudy. And he drove in 12 runs in 5 games. It's a record. An absolute heater for Freddie Freeman. And as far as the surgery itself, it was a debridement, and it removed some loose bodies in his ankle. So he is going to be fine. As of right now, he's fully expected to be ready to go for baseball activities when spring training begins. So my man avoided surgery to go help this team win a World Series. You love Freddie Freeman. I think the big storyline for Freddie Freeman is, at this point, he's had 2 of his best individual regular seasons in his baseball career. Last year, he hit a career high 29 doubles, 29 home runs, 59 doubles, and also hit 29 home runs. So he set a new Dodgers record with 59 two-baggers, hit 29 home runs. It was an MVP-worthy season. Last season, dealt with some injuries, but won the World Series MVP. If Freddie Freeman wins multiple World Series titles with this Dodgers team, if he plays at an MVP level for another 2 seasons and then maybe re-ups, I think the biggest thing for Freddie Freeman going to the Hall of Fame as a Dodger is if he re-ups, is if he comes back and finishes his career with this team after his contract is up. Because Freddie Freeman's 2024 season was his age 34 season. So he'll be around that 36, 37 year age, and he played 12 years with the Braves. So if he signs another 3-4 year deal with the Dodgers, that could put him at 10 years with the Dodgers potentially. And I think it depends on if they do have a dynasty. If he does win another MVP, a World Series MVP, does Freddie Freeman go into the Hall of Fame as a Dodger? I think that the more success that he has, the more of a long time ago it feels like for the Braves, because he won a World Series with the Braves, won an MVP in 2020 in 60-game season, still counts as MVP, still worthwhile MVP, but he's got a lot of legacy padding to do for him to go in as a Dodger. But he's such a nice guy. At this point, you have to almost assume he just goes in with a blank hat. But still, I mean, what do you think, Antonio? Freddie Freeman, does he go into the Hall of Fame as a Dodger or a Brave?
So you took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking probably a blank hat.
Because they should make that where you can't do that. Like, honestly,
I mean, some guy, look at Vladimir Guerrero. I think he went in a blank hat too, right?
You know, sometimes you see those jackets, Noel, they're cool right now with all the MLB logos on it, and like have him go with a Dodger and Braves logo on it.
Facts.
You know?
I'm down for the Dodgers.
Oh, I have an idea. This is me so cringe though.
Let's hear it.
Have it be the L for the Dodgers and have it be like the Braves A interlocking with it.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, let's not.
That's actually a good idea.
No, go into no.
Kind of blasphemous.
Clip that.
No. That's blasphemous. Going as a Dodger, Freddie. Come on. Richard Flores, a 499 super chat. It's simple. Soto would be known as the reason we didn't get Teo. Playing a dangerous game here. Bring back Teo. Say no to Soto. So ultimately, if Teo does sign with another team, they get Juan Soto. Look, I mean, you look at their age. Soto is prime. He's 26. Teo's 32, but he's got more elite years in him, more all-star seasons in him, and I think that would be a massive blow. I'm not denying that, Richard Flores. That'd be a massive blow. but Soto is such an elite player. It might take some time for Dodgers fans. Some Dodgers fans might need to see him play in a game and do it on the field before they would change their opinion. But I personally believe that I think they end up with Soto. I think that, sorry, they end up with Teo and then Soto ends up with the Mets. No, I think that Teo ends up with the Dodgers and Soto ends up with the Mets. Starving_goes $5 super chat. Dodgers should do a bundle trade for Arenado and Helsley for Muncy, Lux, and a couple of prospects, and eating Arenado's contract in a trade from the Cardinals. I like that. I'll give you a comment. A little home run walk-off shot for that one. Look, Muncy, Lux, I mean, from a pitching standpoint, you would love that, and he's currently available, but I think you would have to include more than that. I think you would. I think at that point, you're probably looking at one prospect at the very least with that one. So yeah, we'll talk some more trades too. I mean, Devin Williams, another interesting one if he becomes available at any point. I mean, Bowden included the Dodgers in a trade package that included, I think it was Gavin Lux and Justin Robleski for that one. Matthew Dominguez, $2 super chat. Dodgers fans are being stupid about Soto. Not so sure what you mean by that. If they're being stupid in that they should want him or they should not want him. I think Freddie goes in the Hall of Fame with an LA cap due to the way things ended in Atlanta, plus what he's done with LA so far. It's a nice walk-off shot. It's a good point. Things did not end well for him with the Braves. He wanted to be back, and they didn't want to pay him. And not only that, you traded for his replacement, too, with Matt Olson. It's got to hurt. It's like a Woody and Buzz Lightyear situation type thing. 199 super chat from Oram ZZYY. Soto left field, Teo right field, Tommy shortstop, trade for Crochet, and Robert. So that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Now, if you haven't yet, what are you waiting for? Go to gearup.la, buy a nice shirt for Christmas, for the holidays. That's the one that Jerry Harrison Jr. was talking about, the saying, the mantra for the Dodgers. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. Drop your comments down below, your free agency predictions. Follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Have a nice weekend. We're going to be live if anything breaks. And remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger